Bonjour, good evening and welcome to the Super License F1 podcast. My name's Rodney.
My name is Zach. How you doing?
Hello being German for hello.
Yeah, I guess not a guten Tag or
Nah.
I mean, you could ask.
Wie geht's? Gut,
There
danke.
we go. Wie geht's? Mir geht's gut, Herr Rodney. Rodney? I don't know why you get more syllables in German.
Well, they have to go somewhere. They like
Can't believe-
elongating a word.
We're dedicating the entire podcast to reviewing every single German Grand Prix in history, which is, I don't know if that's what the listeners asked for, but sometimes you just got to do what they need, not what they want.
That's right. If we asked listeners what they wanted, would we even be doing a show? No. So we should just do what we want and hope that other people tolerate it or have accidentally subscribed and don't unsubscribe. But if you're here by your own choice, thank you so much for tuning in. We are officially, as of this episode, kicking off the second decade of Super License. We did it.
Yep. The second season, I would say.
The second season. We're counting the whole first 10 years as one season. This is S2 and
Finally.
E01.
E01.
What do you think will be different about the second decade?
Well, look, the writers are on strike, so the podcast
That's a
is going to
problem.
be much worse.
Oh dear.
Yes, we're going to have to wing it. There will be, I think there'll be many more guest appearances, cameos.
Oh, more you reckon?
Yeah, way more.
It'd become more of a, like a
times
variety
more.
show.
Yeah, I
Yes.
would say so. Yeah, exactly. Expect
People with dogs jumping through hoops, etc.
less F1 chat if that's possible. More snark, and we're getting older now, so I'm guessing we'll probably be more conservative in our views. Less change in Formula One. That's what we want.
That's true. You know what I'm finding in my old age? Way less conservative. Way less conservative. Like people sort of go like, oh yeah, when you're older, when you're middle-aged, because I'm pretty much middle-aged, let's just face it. They're like, you'll become more conservative. You'll be like, I'm more about me. What's in it for me? Kind of just want me and my tribe to be doing well. That's just not, I mean, I do want my tribe to do well, but that's just not my moral tendency. I'm just going the opposite direction, which is weird.
I mean, if you want real political hot take on this show,
let's get real. Come on,
I read a good take on that.
It's been 10 years. We can get real.
Look, the reason why that's happening, Rod, is because the usual trappings of conservatism aren't happening to the millennials and younger. We are not creating investment portfolios in property. We're not like at the top of corporate ladders or have super secure jobs, and we don't have huge families. So all of the things that go with being slightly more conservative and like defending your tribe, like how big is your tribe? Not that big. Like how much do you have? Not as much as previous generations of wealth. So that
there you go.
That wealth transfer is not happening. So we are less likely to be conservative because we don't have as much stuff to protect. We want to protect each other. We're building nice communities, much like this Formula One Super License community. Exactly.
There you go. Well, look, thanks for listening to the Conservacast. Sorry that we're a bit off topic this week.
Two white guys in their mid-30s age bracket discussing what's wrong with the world. Oh, if only there was every other podcast could do that. Anyway, look forward to our exclusive sponsorship from Spotify.
We could move on to some Formula One stuff. We've got we're going to a couple of short stories. We've got a few of the bigger issues because obviously it's been about a month since the last time we did a podcast. That said, do hope you've been enjoying the live streams that we've been doing. Those have been fun. Usually kicking off just before race time. When there's a European standard race time is what I've started calling it. When there's the European standard race time, you can count that 1 hour before then, weather permitting, and free to whether I have no plans. There will be some kind of live stream happening on YouTube, so you'll want to be following like on Twitter and the Discord to find out when those happen and whatever. But those who have been viewing those live or catching up, hope you've been enjoying them. That's part of the new look, second decade of Super License.
I came on to the most recent one on.
I hope you're on many more.
On ESRT, European Standard Race Time, ESRT +0, I think it was this week, because I'm in the right time zone, and it was a return of snacks,
F1 snacks. Yes. Glorious F1 snacks. So you'll have to go check out the YouTube channel to see what glorious F1 snacks I had on hand and Zach had in his pocket, bringing back from various parts of the world.
From Nippon.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Well,
it feels like it's been a little bit of famine of Formula One stuff going on recently, even though we had 2 races. So why don't you kick us off with something? Why don't you give us a little amuse-bouche, a little entree, if you were, to get us in the F1 zone?
Well, look, Zach, I don't know if you realize this, but the face of Formula One media is about to be re-sculpted. Like someone's about to crack open someone's nose and do a bit of rhinoplasty, and this face is going to look different. You and I have been doing our bit to like bring a bit of levity into the new media Formula One landscape, but there are new players entering the arena. While Daniel Ricciardo and Will Arnett are showing up at ESPN for an alternate race coverage. Have you ever? I don't know. We should get into this after I cover. I'll just explain what it is, but then we can get into what you've experienced in this realm. But essentially, ESPN are doing 3 races starting this weekend: the Canadian Grand Prix, then the US Grand Prix in Austin, and then in Las Vegas, with these jokesters, these pranksters, these goons calling an F1 race. So you could choose which channel you want to watch the race on and get the commentary of your choice, I guess. This is apparently a variation on a concept which Peyton Manning, who I know the name, I know by reputation, but I couldn't tell you any of his accolades. He apparently invented this, which makes me think that some other person invented it and got him to put his name on it. But this idea apparently has been kicking around of having an alternate coverage with a bit of a goofy commentary style to just broaden the base. But it's coming to F1, which is interesting.
I just can't believe that the WTF1 guys aren't somehow involved. Like, I'm kind of grateful for that. But good for...
That is interesting because the main guy... Look, I don't follow the WTF1 stuff. I'm not a WTF1 head or whatever. But the main guy seems to have a YouTube channel that isn't in any way branded or affiliated.
Yeah, they had a big break. They had a big breakup. They got...
Did they?
Yeah, and there's...
that explains it.
I didn't follow them that closely, but that's not to say they didn't do cool shit. I mean, this is not meant to be like a moratorium of or a, in
case it isn't obvious, we're not the gatekeepers of what's cool. Or maybe Zach, but not me.
No, have not been for a long time. But apparently people are wearing looser trousers these days. And I'm
finally,
late to that
my fashion sense is coming back around.
Yeah, I've been, the young people were in, tell you what, the young people around here look incredibly unfashionable, and that is very fashionable right now. Like, it's like they mixed whatever The Matrix is doing and the film hackers and whatever Kurt Cobain's acolytes like, kind of smushed that into this weird memory of what the 90s and early 2000s was about, whilst none of those things actually occurred at the same time. But, good for them, man. But, yeah, tell me more about this Will Arnett character. How soon will he be bored of this? Because F1's boring sometimes. Well, Will Arnett seems to have the attention span of, a 3-year-old.
The thing for me about Will Arnett... well, first of all, are you a Will Arnett fan?
I'm a Will Arnett guy, yeah. I mean, I like him in the things that he's in. I really haven't spent much time with any of his own stuff. Obviously, we're probably both big Arrested Development fans, but I don't quote it on the daily, on the
Definitely not an Arrested Development fan, never was.
Really? No. Oh, man.
100% no. BoJack Horseman, big success fan.
Oh, yeah, him. Of course.
But I would argue...
He's not a horse, he's just a voice.
He's just a man and a horse. He's got layers. I would argue that before BoJack Horseman, pretty much every TV thing he did was like, oh yeah, Will, there's a new show with Will Arnett. Oh, it was 1 season and it got cancelled, or 2 seasons and it got cancelled. And he was like death for a while for any TV project. Anything he was on would just get cancelled straight away.
Yeah, so I don't think he has star pull. He's not famous enough.
I feel like he's popular and famous and funny and respected enough to get stuff across the line, like to get it greenlit, but then it doesn't find an audience necessarily.
Yeah, I think people in the space like him, but I don't think...
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Like, I think the other comedians and producers and writers all respect him, like, and think he's great, but then, like, the world at large is like, who? Well, that guy? Oh, yeah, he was in, like, Arrested Development. Like, if you take the exact, like, trajectory of him versus Jason Bateman, like, look at Jason Bateman's career. Fundamentally different.
Yes.
Like, fundamentally, like, successful in almost everything it seems like that he is in or touches, kind of gets his pick of the stuff he wants to do, whether he's playing the straight man or actually genuinely being funny. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. So, yeah.
But anyway, what we've done is we've accidentally gone into the whinge segment before we've gone into what might be good about this segment. So,
yeah, how do we
could
get
this be good? Daniel Ricciardo calling a race? I mean, he's got the F1 knowledge. No doubt he's got the sort of larrikin character to him. Will he be good as a commentator? Guess maybe. There's a potential.
This is tricky because what I learned from like ABC Sports Radio from the cricket is you've got to have a straight man in colour, right? So you've just got two like flamboyant, bombastic guys. Who's going to do the formula? Who's going to be the Jason Bateman? Who's going to be?
You make a good
the straight down the line guy.
God, you
can't have two clowns.
Jason Bateman. If it was Daniel Ricciardo, Jason Bateman, I would be 100% there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Part of me wants to not watch this, but watch the highlights.
Yeah,
with the highlights of their commentary and the highlights of the race mixed together. Like a 20-minute version of that sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. See, this is the thing. I think that like Roy and HG. I mean, gosh, so many Australian references, but you need like. Who's going to be the comedy genius here? Like, or who's going to be? Maybe I bet you there is a third party who is like, you know, when on radio shows where you've got like two funny people, but then they also have like the producer voice who like does the ins and outs and like we're back with da da da, or like actually next coming up is this song, or like who kind of adds the structure. I reckon there will be like a producer host as well.
It is interesting that this is only 3 races. It's clearly a bit of an experiment. They're not necessarily saying we're going to do this for every single race. And that novelty aspect might be enough to stop it from getting too tired.
Yes. Yeah, that could be it. How do we get this?
I'm keen to... Well, I guess it's on ESPN. I don't know if you can get a package that has ESPN replays and stuff on it, probably, somehow. But anyway, that's part of it. Yeah, I guess we'll see. The thing for me is Daniel Ricciardo meant to be trying to get back into F1? Doesn't he want to come back like next year? So
yeah,
what are they going to do? Get someone else?
Maybe.
Who would even be free? Or if you sub out Daniel Ricciardo, like we just said, you could sub out Perez straight into someone else. Yeah. Sergio Perez, he'd be a million laughs.
Jenson Button could do it.
Well, that's the thing. He probably would be better because straighter. I mean, he's certainly not necessarily the straightest. The straightest chopstick in the pile.
Did good commentary already for Sky as well.
Agree. Hard agree. Him, like Jenson Button and Will Arnett, that's great. Daniel Ricciardo, Jason Bateman, that's also great. You've got to. I think you've smashed the formula.
But you put the 2 weakest links together. And we'll see. We'll see though. Maybe there's something that maybe Daniel Ricciardo's just trying to get into this game. Like he wants to be on the circuit. He wants to be one of the, especially because there's just more US feed and more US media around Formula One. Maybe he wants to be the Nico Rosberg of US media.
That's it. That's it. Is Daniel Ricciardo going to step away from this broadcasting to get back into Formula One, or is this his step away from Formula One?
Yeah. Or will we finally put a microphone next to the drivers so that we can hear them the whole time and he can commentate the race while he's in it?
We need to do a prediction on this. How many minutes into the race before one of them farts into the microphone or burps into the microphone?
So we got 3 races. We're doing Canada, US and Las Vegas. I reckon by Vegas,
longer than one race?
Vegas is going to be so boring. I reckon they'll be both farting into the microphones by the end of that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I reckon Will Arnett will absolutely burp into the microphone, maybe during the pre-race for the first race. That's my prediction.
Let me ask you a different prediction. How soon into the broadcast will Daniel Ricciardo be kind of pushing Will Arnett for like stories from Hollywood?
Does he? He doesn't even have like iconic. Does he have catchphrases in anything or character voices? It's just
not
like
the guy
he just plays
Bazinga,
himself. Don't think so.
No.
He kind of just plays himself in every show. So
yeah. I reckon lap 15 will be into the like. Well, when I was hanging out with, we did this, and then like that's how I got into watching Formula One.
Yeah, that's it. Look, he's coming into the pits. Oh, let me tell you what else is the pits. This one time, me and Ben Stiller after the Oscars, etc.
Yeah. Wow, we've done a lot on this.
We have too much.
I'm excited. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to find a way. Remind me about it. I'm going to find a very
I'll send you a
legal
message.
internet stream.
Excellent. Actually, keep an eye on the old Discord in the hashtag Classic Clips channel, and if any highlights or extended clips pop up anywhere, I'll pop them in there. Move on to some real juicy F1 stories.
Finally, yeah.
Zach, Red Bull, 7 races, 7 wins. Is the clean sweep on this season? Will it finally happen?
The team clean sweep.
Yes.
Has Max won all of them? Is that right?
No, Chico has 2.
Chico has 2.
At both of those races, Max was second to Chico, but he's right there. But
So what you're saying is Max would be a perfect number 2 driver then? Because that's the role of
Yes.
the number 2 driver, is to come second. I love that even when Max is not doing his job, he's showing Sergio how to do his job, which is like, well, if I can't win, this is what you want to do.
God, who was it? I think it was Eddie Irvine when he was like, there was the year Michael Schumacher broke his leg and was out of championship contention. So Eddie Irvine took over at Ferrari as the quote unquote number 1 driver.
God,
and then he was like, fucking Michael Schumacher. Not only is he the best number 1 driver in the world, he's the best number 2 driver in the world as well. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, what could possibly stop them? Maybe other people working out how to copy that flaw. I love the. Did you see the comparison photos of whose floor was it? Was it Williams' floor? And it's just flat. And they were like,
Yeah.
compare that to what Red Bull are doing with all those channels. What have you guys done there? Amazing. You cut holes in them.
It was an amazing flex from Red Bull when they were like, here's the photos of our floor. And they're all kind of looking at it like, what am I even looking at here? They're like, see, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. We'll give you a floor. It won't help you at all because you just don't get it. You're just not on our level.
Not even on the level. You've still got no
Speaking
idea.
of,
we are playing 4D chess and you're playing
That's
pickup
exactly
sticks. Like,
you're playing like, how do I open the checkers box? Speaking of negging people, I love this quote from Christian Horner talking about Chico Perez, saying it's so good for Chico that the pressure is off because Max has pretty much secured the championship now. So that's a real weight off Chico's shoulders.
yeah, finally.
He'll be so thrilled. He'll be relieved.
Yeah, what next? Max has just got to do enough to secure the Constructors' Championship for them as well.
He basically will, yeah.
And then we literally, then you know what? Chico Perez could stop driving. They could just run one car for the rest of the season. They could, if they secure that Constructors' Championship early enough, they should start putting cameo drivers in that second car. They should just go through the whole Red Bull ex-driver quota. Just get everybody back in there. Give Daniel a go. Give, Sebastian Buemi a go. Get
Brendan Big Heart Hartley.
Brendan Big Heart Hartley. Hey, all those names are back this weekend. If you want to see all the old drivers, all you need to do is watch Le Mans 24 when it's on.
Oh, yes,
last
that's
weekend,
true.
and you just
And who won
it's
was
just
old human vampire Giovinazzi.
Yeah, Giovinazzi. It was a team of 3 Italian drivers. Ferrari
was in that
won.
team?
They have not won
Yes,
since
Ferrari.
1964. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't following it that closely. And then when I turned it on to watch the start, I was like, wait a second, Ferrari in the top class. I don't get it. And then Le Mans. And then it turned out some bad stuff happened to some other teams. There was some crashing stuff, but Ferrari were amazing. So
Shows to go, yeah.
good on them. To go. Yeah, it was a good race. But I don't know how anybody's going to stop this Red Bull team. I think that maybe Mercedes might have a say because they've decided that their car was junk and their new car's actually all right. They just need to kind of work it out. They're playing from a little bit behind that 8 ball. Maybe Red Bull will become distracted with their engine project that's costing them huge amounts of money.
Yeah. Maybe.
Perhaps Max Verstappen
really
will
the
get
problem.
bored. I don't know.
It's not just dominance. It's we're so dominant that one of us, the wheels could come off one of the cars, we could still pit and come back out in front of everybody else. It's uber dominant. So the best we can probably hope for is not even a battle for the lead, but just a battle to stay within touch in case something happens.
Yeah, they're indomitable. The race weekend pace is just so much. There's the clean driving around other cars and in all conditions and in all racetracks. So
this is going to age so well when Hamilton wins this weekend at Canada.
I hope so.
Or something like that.
That would be great.
Or something like that. Well, look, we can run through some of the other teams and see how they're going, because if we want to hype up a bit of a challenge, we could look at some other teams like Aston Martin, who until recently were the other team on the podium. But I don't know. It feels like Mercedes have sort of got the jump on them a little bit. Even Ferrari was looking maybe a little bit better than Aston Martin was last race. But Aston Martin, is it ever going to happen for them? Are they going to be challenging for a win?
Yeah, I think so. I think that maybe when we get to some slower tracks, a little bit of luck.
Little bit of luck. How is the old... have you got the standings up? How is Alonso versus Stroll going? Is he still 4 times as many points?
Yeah, the big one, driver standings. Fernando Alonso, 99, going to crack the Centurion probably this weekend.
Me.
And then Lance Stroll, what did you say? 3 times his points.
Well,
he's just under 3 times his points. Yeah, Lance Stroll's on 35.
I said he would double his points for the year, but that needs to be upped, I think.
But, put into context here, you've got the Red Bulls at the front there, and then Fernando third, Lewis Hamilton in 4th. So, you've got 3 world champions filling up the top 4, and one guy who's fine, but in the best car. And then you've got our mate, Greg Russell, who's definitely not a cyborg and definitely not got a punchable face. Don't worry about that.
And then I have a new nickname for colour signs. I don't know if this will land with you or not. The driving crooner. Does that mean anything to you?
Yes. Oh, man. I was going to save this for after the podcast, but that... Oh, man, I think you should leave. I think you should leave is the most hit and miss show I've ever seen.
But did you like that one or not? Was that
yes, of course I like that one, but it's
great.
It's brilliant. But then the next sketch will be on. It's like, this is junk and so bad.
I know what you mean. I kind of agree.
Why the hype around that show is so weird because some stuff is so good. Like, I was like, maybe the silliness, Amber, my wife, will like it. And she was just like, I know that this is meant to be super absurd, but this joke is also just not funny in any way.
Yeah, I do. I totally know what you mean because I think I've gotten to the point with the show now where even episodes I haven't seen, when it starts, I'm like, I know exactly what the next 2 minutes is. And I'm almost always
Say the thing louder.
And the problem is, if you don't find it funny, you've got to sit through the 2 minutes. But if you do find it funny, it's like, this is going to blow my mind.
Yeah.
So I totally get it. And you're not wrong.
Yeah. Anyway.
But it's still my favorite. Like, I have the opposite of you where I'm like, I love the bits that are great because they're so much further above any other sketch comedy.
Yeah. No, they are. The bits that are really, really, really good are really good. But I feel like you could take the entire season, take the best bits, turn it into one 25-minute episode instead of these weird 13-minute episodes and just have that.
Yeah.
But that's classic Netflix. Like, take anything that could be a 90-minute documentary and make it an 8-part series. Fuck.
I watch the whole series. I skip all the sketches I don't like. I watch the whole series. It's in and out, 120 minutes. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Somehow, colour signs, the driving crooner is ahead of Charles Leclerc. I don't know what's going on there.
Oh, yeah, Charles Leclerc, unluckiest driver in Formula One. And then Lance Stroll.
So.
And then Lance Stroll.
And then Lance Stroll. He's right down there.
But he's right down there. But where do you expect him to be? Think about all the other better drivers and all the other world champions and all the other better cars. He's doing exactly what... I think he's doing better. I genuinely believe he's doing better than what people think he is. And I think he's a better driver. I think he's getting better every year. And I think he's probably going to have a really long career in Formula One. He will be like the Romain Grosjean. He is the Romain Grosjean of Formula One. It just so happens that his dad
he basically is.
But I think he's good enough now. I used to say, even up to the end of last season, I was like, I don't know. If his dad didn't own the team, would he be in Formula One? I think now, if the Stroll family wanted to remove all sponsorship from all teams and all that kind of stuff, I think that someone like Alfa Romeo would be like, yeah, Lance Stroll, go on. Sure. You've got a lot of experience. You know what you're doing. Why not?
Here's a question for you then. The end of the season, will the points gap between Verstappen and Perez be bigger or smaller than the points gap between Alonso and Stroll? Because it's currently close.
It is close. That is true.
I mean, Verstappen and Perez tend to score more points. I mean, my tendency would probably be Verstappen will score more points over Perez because he'll take more wins, which means the gap is
those 7
bigger.
Points extra
But
every single time.
It just should not be this many points.
Yeah, I think that there is a higher likelihood that of Verstappen, the gap between Verstappen and Perez, because I think that Perez doesn't finish second often enough. I think that
will be the biggest gap in points between any teammates. But second to that will be Alonso and Perez and Stroll for
who else is
gap in points between the teammates. Because like Hamilton, Russell, right there, like the singing crooner and Leclerc, right there. like even Ocon, Gasly, right there. But there's multiple teams in between Alonso and Stroll, so I just don't know.
If it's pure points, yes, but like by multiples. So Hülkenberg has 3 times as many points as Kevin Magnussen. So,
But where do you think they'll end up?
Yeah.
Closer or further apart?
It only takes one win from Hülkenberg.
Notes, we should,
and he could,
only takes one win from Hülkenberg. Mm-hmm. Well, look, that's Aston Martin, I think, covered, and probably Ferrari covered. I mean, for a while, it looked like they were kind of threatening to maybe snatch a podium if Aston Martin went on their day. But lately, that doesn't even look possible either. Look what's going on there.
They're a mess. Ferrari, it's not even a mess, just like they've settled into this idea that they are only ever fair to middling. I don't think they've got it in them to design a brilliant car that... Maybe not this season. Give Vassar another season, maybe, to like get things sorted. I don't think it's the drivers. The drivers are good, or are they? Maybe they aren't. Maybe they've been tricking us this whole time. Maybe Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz are exactly a true reflection of where Ferrari is, and that this isn't quite it. But I just don't think they've got it. This entire. I don't know, maybe nobody else has really got this this formula right except Red Bull. And that happened, the last time Red Bull was super dominant, is that they got the formula perfectly, or all the aerodynamics, double diffuser, whatever you want to say. Adrian Newey did it, and he's done it again with the complicated floor.
He's bloody done it.
But, maybe no one else has got it. And it's only harder nowadays to catch up because of the spending cap. And this is always the risk of something like that, is that you and like the cap on how many changes you're allowed to make, how many upgrades you're allowed to bring, all of that kind of stuff. Like Ferrari needs. I heard a really good saying the other day, which is that you can't get to the moon by climbing taller and taller trees. And that's what kind of Ferrari feels like a little bit. That it's just like, well, you need a fundamental change. You can't incrementally catch up to Red Bull. You need a complete rethink of how you build this car, how it works. Like your approach to Formula One needs a complete rethink. Maybe it'll come from the World Endurance Team, who just won, Le Mans 24. Sorry, I just got absolutely distracted there by a guy who, one of the higher, like Lime bike, like bikes for hire was,
yes,
I think, outside his house. And he just pedaled, just pushed it out into the road and just let it fall into the middle of the road. So cool, man. Cool. Yeah.
Used to be the trend here was to take all the Lime scooters and dump them in the Yarra River, and you'd look on the where's there a Lime scooter near me? Oh, there's 100 right over there. Oh, it's in the river. And then that was better, if you can believe it or not. That's better than the latest trend, which is just for people to go to the bathroom right on them.
Oh,
so you go to get a scooter, and you're like, oh, thanks, nice little present there for me.
I look away from Australia for 2 minutes, and then bam.
That's right.
It's
all gone to shit since you left, basically. So Ferrari, no good. Chuck him in the bin. What was that phrase? Chuck him in the bin? What's that phrase?
À la poubelle.
À la poubelle to you, Ferrari, I say. Mercedes threatening, maybe. They're trending backwards by trending backwards, I mean they're trending forwards in a good direction. They're sort of back to where they were last year, I feel, where it's like threatening but not really threatening in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Oh my God, Rod. Now this guy's just stealing this bike. There's just another man has turned up and he's like, I'm going to jumpstart this Lime bike and steal it.
This is another guy, not the guy I threw it in the street.
This is a different man. He's dumped his own bike and now has decided that he's going to jumpstart this Lime bike, which you can do by you can bump start them by running them fast. So he's got it going. And now he's grabbing his own bike and he's going to cycle off with this Lime bike and this.
What he's decided. Hey, wait, Zach, I've worked it out. This is one of those guys that gets the bikes and takes it back to where they're meant to go. That's what's going on.
Why isn't he riding his own bike? Did he steal the other bike? That's probably what happened.
He rode his own bike to where the Lime bike was. Now he's taking the Lime bike back to where it's meant to be.
It's a 3 false starts of trying to ride whilst also holding his other bike next to him. What's he going to do now? He's approaching the end of the road little fence thing and another crossroad. I don't know if I'll edit this out or not, but this is.
Can we somehow talk to him? Stuff. Can we get a mic down to
can we get a mic down there? You there, bike stealer man.
You there, thief? What day is this?
Yeah.
Why, it's Christmas Day.
It's not Christmas Day for Kevin Magnussen, who has seen his, I'm back in Formula One and look, I'm actually good. And then Nico Hulkenberg was like, hold my balls. I'm here. And I'm actually good.
Hold my balls out of here. That's funny. You're a funny guy. You should do a podcast. Surprise of the season, maybe, that Hulkenberg is doing better than Magnussen? I did not predict this at all.
I guess. I think is it small sample size? Maybe. No, I think Nico Hulkenberg's
small wins.
good. Yeah, but Hulkenberg's a good driver. Like, just because he... Man, there's only one memory that comes to mind with Nico Hulkenberg is when he goes to this...
Yep, that one.
He's at the Microsoft store and they're like, how many races have you won? None yet.
The kid says, have you won any races? He said, yes, I've won lots of races. And he's like, what about Formula One? He's like, no. Not even a podium.
Oh, I like Nico Hulkenberg, but that's rough. Kids are rough, man.
For a guy who's doing well, you don't really see or hear anything from him, I feel.
No, because he hasn't got too much to...
Weird.
There's not that much attention. So I don't want to, call out some of my newer F1 friends, as in they're old friends, but people who are newer into watching Formula One. And they, are Max Verstappen fans-ish when they started watching because they liked the cut of his jib, which is fair enough, when he was the upstart. But now he's the dominant incumbent and absolutely dominating. There was some messages going around on our WhatsApp group that was kind of like, well, what do we do now? Like, this guy just wins all the time and it's actually really boring. I was like, you got to find your midfield heroes.
Yes.
You got to get behind. Now, do you want to guess who mine is these days?
Stroll.
You know what? No, but it was a good guess. He's my number 2.
Bottas?
No. You can have one more guess. He's got some points.
I mean, I could guess all night long.
Yes.
Pierre Gasly.
It's Yuki Tsunoda.
Yuki Tsunoda, there you go.
I think he's really, he's taken the feedback he had to heart and he was like, you know what, I'm going to make a real go of this. And it's
having
fun.
a great year.
And I like it.
And did you see how upset he was after that penalty in the last race?
Yeah.
He was distraught.
Exactly. He's got grit, determination.
Yeah.
I like him.
Don't tell me that guy's aloof.
No, exactly. And I like how tiny he is. I think it's cool that he could
okay, cool.
fit in my pocket.
The only thing I was going to say about Haas is that Hulkenberg has been reporting back to the team. He's like, look, as the leading driver in this team, I feel like I could offer you a bit of a direction here. We seem to be doing really well on Saturdays, but then come Sundays, no good, into the bin. And maybe we want to look at a way of rebalancing that, making a car that's not too bad on Saturdays, but also pretty good on Sundays as well. That might help us. Because he kind of said something like, it's just no fun qualifying okay and then just going backwards. So he's hoping the team will change direction a little bit and put less focus on one lap speed and try and get those tyres to not cook themselves like a delicious roast turkey. Yum.
I think that's a good idea. But I'm sure that F1 sage and font of information, Will Buxton told me that it's all about qualifying. That qualifying is the most important part.
Yeah, and he says lots of things.
Even though the race isn't one on Saturday, it's kind of one on Saturday. So
he sure says a lot about things that set up the clips nicely that they've got.
They're about to show. Yeah.
Yes,
qualifying is very important. Yeah, no, I'm with Hulkenberg here. There's no point in qualifying 12th to then come 14th. We might as well try to rebalance that car and try to get in the points more often and start from 14th because it won't. There's some crap teams out there, man. You can qualify better than them just on skill alone.
What do you think, Zach, about...
I mean, Nico Hulkenberg.
I get nowhere on my skill alone. What do you think about this new contender for a tyre supplier to the sport of Formula One?
Are there actually other contenders, or is this just that, hey, we're going to announce who's going to be doing it, and is it just going to be Pirelli?
There was a tender that closed, looking at the calendar, nearly a month ago, and the successful... I know. Fuck, again. The successful bidders will be announced next week, I think. And it's strongly rumoured that Bridgestone put in a bid to be a potential tyre supplier for Formula One. Last time we had this, I think it was Hankook the Korean tyre, I think. Bridgestone being, what are they, Japanese? Currently Michelin. No, not Michelin. Pirelli. Michelin were a former tyre supplier as well. But, I mean, harkening back to the time when we had two competing tyre suppliers, it was Michelin and Bridgestone. And I got to tell you, those were some of my favourite years. I've been waiting for a long time for there to be a return of two tyre suppliers, because since they got rid of refueling, there's so little variance between teams that there's sort of nothing strategically you could do. At least during the tyre wars, there was like different phases. Some tyres would start better, other tyres would come good in the middle of the race, and it made it more dynamic. So I'm keen for it. It might be a horrible mistake, I don't know, but I'm keen for something to happen. So I'm up for this. I want there to be an announcement that we're going back to two. I'm
in it. I'm here for it. I want, you know what, as well? It'll just be nice to have, as you said, the more choice, but just another thing to kind of chat about, right? Like, I feel like we have Pirelli ages now. Just another thing to be like, yeah, but, you know, those Bridgestones, they're really strong, but sometimes they just explode. Or... and
then you go to put tyres on your own car and you're looking at the Pirellis, looking at the Bridgestones, looking at the Pirellis, look at the Bridgestones. You're like, I don't know what to do here. These days, it's easy choice.
That's it. It's a very easy choice. I'm only about those P0s. Yeah, I think it'd be good for the sport. I don't know if Formula One is in a position to like bring in and like it's interesting because Formula One, I think, in the last kind of like 5 years has been all about bringing in new and better sponsors and more sponsors. Like, you want to give us money? Great. We'll stick your logo on something. And maybe that's foreshadowing for a quiz later. I can see their need for like, but if we could just have another tyre supplier, that'd be amazing. You know, another brand to stick on stuff, more ads, more money, and no costs. You know, no added costs. That's great. You know, maybe, and we can tell everybody that increases competition, and it will actually drive costs down because then Pirelli will have to bring their cost down of tyres or something like that, right? But maybe on the other hand, Pirelli, I can imagine, maybe has a little bit of a say in this, right? They can't just be like, of course, just bring a third into this relationship. That's what we wanted. Like, we'll make this... the
thing with Pirelli, for me, is we've had them for a long time. They came in and were fine. Then they were no good. Then they were sort of fine again. And they've just kind of been fine really for a long time, and there's been no interest in tyres. So like we used to have the like ultra softs and the hyper mediums and whatever, but since those days were all gone, which is a good thing that we just got soft, hard, medium. That's better. But I mean, it's just tyres have just become a bit of a meh thing in the sport, and I'm keen for it to be interesting again. I'm ready for big black round things to be interesting again.
Yes, finally. Yeah, you know what? Finally. Maybe Bridgestone will be like, we've worked out how to. The slicks aren't as good. We're going to have them with grooves in them, with treads.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Who would have thought?
Our tyres are going to flash when they turn around. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, Zach, I reckon enough of this teasing. I reckon we'll actually do a super quiz. What do you reckon?
Yeah, let's do it.
We will accept a couple of questions. Should one only win one? Would one want to have won that one in round one?
Can you repeat the question?
It's time for a super quiz. I reckon it's about brands.
Yeah, something tells me brands. I got a brand new quiz for you. We haven't done this in a little while. I always like to just do a little check-in with the Formula One sponsors, see if we can find any oddities. So I don't have a fun name for you this week, but let's call it the brand's new quiz for 2023. Right, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, and the fifth one is going to be a quick fire. So get ready for that. Hold on to your bloomers. Are you ready for question number 1?
Mm-hmm. Hit me.
Okay, here's an old one for you, Rod. Which team sponsors F1?
Which team?
Yeah,
it'll be a football team, right?
No. It's a Formula One team. If you go to the F1 website and you scroll down to partners, there is a Formula One team there.
Is it Mercedes AMG?
It is not Mercedes AMG. It is AlphaTauri. I think it's their clothes. Yeah, AlphaTauri.
Wow.
Very weird that they're down there. You know, they're like on the 4th row of partners. So I wonder if that says something about like, is it a platinum, gold, silver, bronze kind of partnership scenario? But there's Puma down there and AlphaTauri. Tauri.
Feels a little bit like when a podcast does ads and then they have no ads, so they sponsor themselves and they're like, oh, this week's podcast is sponsored by us. Thanks. Like,
Yeah. Cheers. Buy our weird jackets.
cheers, us.
Yeah, Tauri, Torai. Which one is it? It's Tauri, right? And I've been saying Torai
Everyone
today.
says Tauri. I don't know.
Alphatari. Okay, question number 2. You're 0 from 1. Maybe this one.
Feels unnecessary. You don't have to say that.
Look, all I'm going to say is one of us is the Chico Perez of these quizzes, and it's not me. There's almost always Ferrari on the podium, Rod, but in what sense?
Is this something along the lines of the... What is it? It's not the champagne, but is it the...
Technically, it's not champagne, but it is maybe
is it the
technically...
sparkling...
It is.
Is it the sparkling white wine?
Yes, it is in the words of Rob Lowe, it's actually sparkling white wine if it's not from the Champagne region of France, which is exactly right. Ferrari is the sparkling wine, which is why they no longer say, and the champagne. They might still say that. I haven't watched a podium in a while. But yes, Ferrari is the sparkling wine on the podium. It's from Italy, but I don't know if it's a Prosecco, but you know what? It's there so that Ferrari, regardless of how they're doing and how bad their strategy is, they are on the podium every single week, almost every single week, because they're probably not at the Saudi race and the other Gulf races. So
yes, and a little bit like this podcast, you can't say it's champagne comedy unless it's from the Champagne region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling conversation.
Yes, exactly. All right, question number 3. Which team is currently running a competition to decide on fan-designed livery, featuring Gulf, that famous kind of orangey blue livery that you see on stuff, which this team will run at Singapore, Japan, and Qatar later this season.
I should just say, I'll just Google F1 team Gulf to find out which team it is, but I won't do that. Is it McLaren?
It isn't, although they were the one who did it recently. But
that might be why I'm thinking them.
Yeah, of course. It was almost a trick question, except it's true.
Oh.
So it's not McLaren.
So, is it your favourite, AlphaTauri?
No, I'm going to...
I think in Japan, that's all.
Yeah, I'm going to call it here. It's Williams.
Yeah. Williams. Why?
Williams
what's the go there?
Money, probably. They probably had Gulf as their sponsor at some point.
Is.
Right. I just love that Gulf every year wanders around to a different team and is like, hey, you want... We probably had some shared history at some point because Formula One's so incestuous that every team has somehow had access to a different part of the Formula One history.
Yeah, I feel like Gulf and Williams have a long history.
Okay, then. Well, there we are.
There you go.
Maybe you're the quiz master this week.
Unlikely.
Question number 4, Rod. This is a tricky one. Who's the title or principal sponsor of Alfa Romeo? Not Alfa Romeo, obviously, but Alfa Romeo, the Formula One team. And what do they do? Have you ever heard of this? I'll give you 3 options. Is it
yes, please.
Rake, Steak, or Blake?
Unhelpful. Is it... Okay, let's go. Law of averages, right down the middle. Let's go Steak.
It is Steak. Yeah, they are a sports betting conglomerate. I think they also sponsor maybe Everton in the Premier League, and I've seen their name around, but I had no clue, which means either Alfa's not doing enough of their own branding or they're not. That brand means just nothing. So I reckon that puts you at half of them right, which is pretty good. Here we go, Rod. Last question, which is a quick fire round. Okay. We are on the aforementioned AstonMartinF1.com website, and we're going down to their global partners. And I looked at these looking for something that I could ask you, and I basically didn't recognize any of these names. So we're going to work on the honesty system here, Rod. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to read these out for you, and you're going to and I'm going to count them. How many you have heard of in any way, shape, or form? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 9. God, there's so many. But God, I've never seen so many global sponsors. But here we go.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
XP.
No.
No. Sentinel One.
No.
Crypto.com.
Yes.
Cool. Yes, we know them for having... I'm sure they collapsed, but I'm sure they sponsor the Super Bowl stadium or something. Yeah, nice one. City, as in City Group.
Oh, well, I've heard of City Group. I assume City's the short version of that.
Yep. That'll do. Juniper Networks.
Ooh, do they make gin?
No. Oh, maybe. Who knows? That's a good guess. But
Otherwise, no.
otherwise, no. Peroni Nastro Azzurro, 0.0%.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yep. Cool. Velocity Black.
I could guess, but no, I haven't heard of it.
No. JCB.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, they do the cranes. They're the real money. That's the Stroll family. And Banco
course.
Master.
Give me that one more time.
Banco Master.
Banco Master.
Yep.
Okay, no, I haven't, but
No,
I just like the vibe of it. It's got a rhythm.
It's got a good vibe. Feels like an anime that would be on Netflix. Banco Master.
I think I got the Banco Master chicken last time I was at Japanese
a Porto. Oh no.
Yes, Porto. Porto.
Yeah, a Porto.
Okay.
Porto Seguro.
I mean, it's not a strong bell ringing for me, so no.
Okay, Fly Saudia.
Oh, I've heard of. I've heard of that. I would
Okay,
say.
cool. NetApp.
Is it net.app?
No, it's
old
just NetApp.
Twitter clone?
No.
I'm going to say no then.
That feels like British London, from Peep Show, where it's like, they're a real publishing company. They're British London.
That's all right.
NetApp. What, they make websites? Come on. So NetApp, that was a no. Avatrade?
No.
No. Again, sounds made up. Boss? You know Boss.
I've heard of Boss, yes.
Yeah, Boss. So you're on 6. Gerard Perregaux.
That's he was in the green card? Is that the guy?
And The Fugitive. Is that it too? The original, maybe?
Fugitive?
Yeah, no, the French one, not the
okay,
Han Solo one. Epos?
No.
Maybe. Oh, some of these are links and some of them aren't. That's really interesting. They design, manufacture, and sells high-end audio and video solutions for business professionals and gamers around the world. No, you don't get that one. Bombardier?
Oh, yeah. I've heard...
You know that name.
Or maybe they're named after something else that I'm like, I've heard of that.
No, you've heard of Bombardier. They do, design, manufacture, support world-class business aircraft. Of course.
Well, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, definitely. Socios.com.
No, I haven't been on the website.
They do
for a long
crypto
time.
tokens for sport. It's a pyramid
they
scheme. I hate that my own football club is involved in any way, shape, or form. Globetrotter.
The basketball players. They're pretty.
Yep, that's them. Yeah. Oh, and
Cool.
they've got the Washington Generals as well. No. Luxury luggage brand. Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah.
Really?
Haven't been in one for about 20 years, but yes, I know that.
Oh, wow. I had no
Restaurant
idea.
chain.
Well done. Okay,
And
you get that.
he's a person as well. He's
Yep.
his own person.
Pirelli? Yep.
Yeah.
And
I'm
TikTok.
familiar with them.
Yep.
TikTok. Yes. I've
So
popped
I
a
think
few
you
of
got-
those in my time. The orange ones are the best.
You got 10 from, let me just do some quick maths here.
You're the TikTok guy. I'm not. Well, so how many
Yes.
did you get?
Fewer than
About
that.
the same or
Probably,
less?
yeah, probably,
Really?
probably 8 or 9. Yeah, I'd never heard of Wolfgang Puck. But yeah, I think I knew Socios.
Yeah.
And
Some of those
Gerard
brands are
Perregaux, I'm
really-
pretty sure I know as well because they're what do they do? Watches? Yeah.
Some of those
watchmaking.
brands are really aimed at a guy of a certain age from a certain era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Lawrence Stroll.
So I think it's
The things
yes,
that he
exactly.
likes.
Very much.
Yes.
We really
So,
need a real
about
contemporary tech company. Can we get MySpace?
Yeah, one that his nephew set up, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I
That's
think
it.
I
You
passed.
got
I think I
about
won
half of
on
them.
the quiz.
I think you got about half the questions right on the brand's
No, I
news
think you're wrong about that,
quiz.
but thank
I think
you.
You nailed it. That's it for the Super Quiz, Rodney. For another
Excellent
year of brands. Hopefully, we'll get some fun, new,
Another
interesting
year.
sponsors next year.
We can't this year. We cannot forget to do for the Japanese Grand Prix the haiku quiz. We cannot forget.
I know. Well,
mark
don't
the
ask me.
calendars now.
Just because I do it.
No, yeah. I'll remind you. Don't worry. Well, Zach, we're getting pretty deep into the old show arena. So, I mean, unless you have any parting thoughts, gripes, personal grievances that you want to bring to the
Gripes.
air and put on the internet for everyone to listen to,
Gripes and grievances.
or good
been
things,
interesting.
good stories,
Yeah.
positivity.
Yeah. Did I write something down?
Did I write something down? I don't know.
Sometimes I write notes to myself during my last note to myself on
During my
Slack
life.
about the Super License F1 podcast was 20 mins Mark cough. So I think that was maybe you coughed a lot, or I did at 20-minute marks last time. No, I mean, it's that funny time of year where it's kind of, we've all got a feeling now. We're like, all right, it's no one else, like it's not going to happen for anybody else. So, oof. And it doesn't look like there's enough bad luck. And no one's really like crashing into each other anymore. Like everyone like races pretty calmly and nicely. Like you don't see a lot of crashes and stuff at the front. No one's really mucking up. Everybody's very consistent. Like you don't see a lot of cars just breaking down this season either.
No.
Like, and not a lot of DNFs for those reasons.
People have been pointing out how nice Fernando Alonso has been to Lance Stroll and how complimentary he has been. Even when Lance Stroll like DNFs, he's like, nah, but he was like, you know, he was running in third or fourth. Like he would have done really well. And then he like looks up at the TV screen and sees Lance overtaking. He's like, tell Lance I say congratulations. Or I've tried this brake balance. I think Lance would really like it. Like tell him, you know, tell him he thinks he should try it. And then he's like pulling up behind him and he's like, just tell Lance I'm not going to overtake him. I just need to build a gap on the guy behind me. Just like, it's all cool. Just tell him not to worry. Don't even worry about it.
That was really good.
Uncharacteristically friendly and nice to his teammate, which, I mean, I got to say, it's nice to see.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'll stay out of your way if you stay out of mine. You know,
I think that there's a lot of that to it.
Yeah,
and also his dad is giving him tens of millions of dollars.
That does help. If someone was giving me a lot of money to race around in a Formula One car and not cause too much trouble, then yeah, I'd do that for a job. I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Well,
tasty maple syrup Grand Prix coming up this weekend.
Yes, that's true.
You've mentioned you probably won't be doing a pre-race directly before the race stream.
No, I'm keen to do one. I'm keen to do one, but just at the usual time that I've been doing them, not necessarily in the middle of the night. And I mentioned to you pre-race or pre-show as well. They're rudely taken away the public holiday that usually accompanies the Canadian Grand Prix. So I can't even get up early and then just have a little snooze through the day. I got to go to work. So it's not a great weekend for old Rotorino. But I might still try and do a live stream at that time. So again, just keep your eyes on the prize.
Yeah, just give me a ring or whatever people do.
I will.
Hit me up on my Snapchat.
I'll slip into your DMs about it.
Finally.
And see how you go. If it happens, I'll tell you what, I've got some stories lined up about Drive to Survive and the impact on Formula One's audiences that I want to get into. But
have you watched this season yet?
No.
No, neither.
I'll tell you what though. I might not have watched it, but fuck loads of people have watched it this year. So we'll cover if I have a live stream this week. Hope you can make it. Hope you Zach can make it, but also hope listeners can make it. Please feel free to watch live if you want to, because you can comment and stuff during the live stream. But if you do miss it, it's just as good the second time on the old YouTubes. And if you've got a big gap between me finishing and the start of the Canadian Grand Prix, you've got plenty of time to watch it and catch up. But keep your eyes out for that.
The way I would sell it as well, if you want to feel for what it's like we really let our hair down. Like it's just a loose, we're pretty uptight and pretty strict to format on this show. If you want to hear hot takes, a bit of banter, those kinds of things, really, let go, live free, die young, those kinds of things. That's what the stream's really about. It's nothing like this show.
Sure, yes. I mean, the stream, there's no sort of format or tone to the stream as such, but I am trying to make it it doesn't just have an immediate shelf life. So if you watch it a few days later, that's fine. That's what I'm going for, I guess. But we'll work it out. We're still working each other out. But it'll be a good time if you happen to catch that. Thanks to everyone who has caught it too. It's been really, really good to see the reaction, and it's growing, which is a nice thing.
Very nice.
Anyway, speaking of growing. We know runs are going. We should get going. Let these people get back to their good lives. Zach, I hope you enjoy the Canadian Grand Prix. If I don't talk to you before then, hope that everything else goes well for your week.
Great, you as well.
Hope you find $50.
Fernando Alonso over here being so nice.
Yes, exactly. Well, thanks for another great show. Thanks for a great quiz. And I think, unless there's anything else to say,
are you waiting for me to interrupt you? Yeah, please do. I haven't got anything else in the canister, man.
In that case, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
See you next time for another Super License podcast or an F stream. I don't even know what's going on anymore. F1 stream, maybe. Podcast.
F1 streams.
Don't know. When it happens, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Your hands around.